No matter how much you try, things get technical, and there are certain terms and jargons and concepts that you need to know in this particular analysis of traffic. Okay, so let's take a look at this in this chapter. So let's quickly go back to our screen, and over here, what we have discussed till now is how the traffic is being captured in Google Analytics and how you can visualize it and analyze it, right? And we also had seen some of these sources. Okay, for example, Google, email, and direct. We were talking about all of these. Okay, but here is the challenge. Okay, if I go back to the analytics account, you will see that there are some terms like medium, and if I open this, there is something called campaign. Okay, and so on, and there is Google Ads as well. And then there are terms like new users, returning users, engaged sessions, and so on. Okay, so some of these we need to understand traffic. Okay, so let's take a look at these terms. All right, so we have got these user types as total users, new users, returning users, and active users. Okay, so the total users is all the users who have visited your website ever. Okay, new users are the users who have visited your website for the first time on a certain date. Okay, returning users are the users, and you have guessed it right, who have already visited the website sometime in the past and are visiting again. Okay, active users are the users who have been active on your website for the given time duration that you have selected. Okay, if I go back now, we have selected this time duration and there are new users over here. So that totals to about 83,000, which means that these users made their first visit in the time period that we have selected. Returning users are the users who have been to the website before and now they are coming back in this period. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But the question is, who is a user? Am I a user? Of course I'm a user. But is that the technical definition of a user? Not really. And this is where we'll learn some techniques to understand who is a user, right? This is going to help you a lot when you are doing your analysis, and you should have a very clear idea of who Google defines as a user. So I'm on this website, right? Let me right click over here, click on inspect, and I'm going to go a bit technical over here, but then you have to understand this conceptually. So if I go to the application and the cookies, and then there is a lot of information over here from different websites. We are interested in the cookie that comes from shop.googlemerchandisestore.com. Okay, if you want to know about cookies, cookies are name value pairs of information that they save some data that is helpful for the development teams or the analysis teams to understand the user and some of the basic ideas about the user. All right, so one of these cookies that I want you to take a look at is this one, GA underscore GA. Okay, and there is a number that shows up over here, isn't it? So this is your client ID that is assigned to you by Google Analytics to be specific. Okay, and this client ID is the client ID that defines a single user. Okay, now here is the thing. If you open an incognito window over here, okay, by going on the top and clicking on new incognito window, or if you open another browser on the system, Mozilla browser maybe, okay, and there you open the same website, you are going to get a different client ID. Okay, which means that although you are the same person, this is the same system that I'm using, I will get a different client ID, and therefore Google will understand me as a different user that's going to the system. You should be aware of this. It's not really a glitch, but it's a technical limitation, but you should be aware of this kind of an issue that may come up. Okay, there are ways to mitigate it to some extent, but not always. Now, it's also true that if someone opens the same website from the mobile application and then again from the system, since the device is changing, okay, the client ID will change and system will see this as a new user again, and it will give a similar kind of a long string of numbers to another user. Okay, or the same user on two devices, or the same user on two different browsers. Okay, the client ID is very specifically a browser in a system. You have to remember that. Okay, and therefore each user is a browser in a system. Okay, so that's total users, new users, returning users, and active users. So with that, let me close this chapter, and I will meet you in the next chapter with some more data on similar lines. Thank you.